You've probably heard that magnesium glycinate can help you sleep more soundly, ease tense nerves, quiet leg cramps, and support a steady heart. All of that is true. It's one of the most talked about minerals in wellness circles right now, and for good reason. People who take it correctly often describe it as one of the simplest changes they've made to feel calmer and more rested. But there's one overlooked habit, a small, everyday choice, that can flip this calming mineral into something that does the opposite of what you're hoping for. Instead of settling your body down, it can jolt you awake in the middle of the night, tighten your chest, and send your pulse racing when you least expect it. Most people never trace it back to the real cause. They blame stress. They blame getting older. They chalk it up to just a bad night and move on, hoping tomorrow will be different. But the actual explanation is much simpler than that. It was never about the supplement itself. It's about how and when it's taken. And once you see it clearly, it's almost impossible to unsee. William Li has spent years watching capable, health-conscious people do almost everything right, except for one detail that quietly shuts magnesium down before it ever gets the chance to help. It's rarely a dramatic mistake. It's usually something small, something that feels perfectly reasonable in the moment, and that's exactly why it goes unnoticed for so long. Magnesium touches hundreds of processes that keep your body running smoothly, your muscles, your heartbeat, your nerves, your sleep cycle, even the way your brain winds down at the end of the day. When it actually reaches the cells that need it, you notice the difference fast: looser shoulders, a quieter mind, a body that finally lets go of the tension it's been carrying. When it doesn't, your body lets you know that too, just not in the way you'd expect. Instead of relaxation, you get restlessness. Instead of deep sleep, you get a 3 a.m. wake up with your heart pounding for no clear reasons. So today we're breaking down the 5 most common habits that quietly sabotage magnesium glycinate, counting down to the single biggest one, the one almost nobody thinks to check, and the simple adjustments that can turn this mineral back into one of the most reliable tools in your daily routine. If you're following along, drop a comment and say hi. This space exists to help you feel steady, informed, and confident about your health, one small correction at a time. No gimmicks, no expensive fixes, just a clearer understanding of how your own body works. Let's get into it. A lot of people take their magnesium right after a full meal. It feels gentler, more familiar, easier on the stomach. It's an understandable instinct. We're taught that supplements go down easier with food, so pairing magnesium with dinner just feels like common sense. But the moment magnesium lands in a gut full of certain foods, its absorption can quietly fall apart, and you'd never notice it happening in real time. There's no warning sign, no upset stomach, nothing that tells you something went wrong. The pill just doesn't do its job. Here's the twist. The foods most likely to interfere are often the very ones we reach for to be healthy. Whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds, spinach, beet greens, dark chocolate, and calcium-heavy foods all carry natural compounds that bind tightly to minerals. These compounds, plant fibers, oxalates, competing minerals, aren't dangerous by themselves, and nobody's suggesting you cut them out of your diet. But when they meet magnesium in your gut at the same time, they act like tiny clamps, locking it into a form your body simply can't absorb and escorting it straight out as waste before it ever gets near your bloodstream. Picture a typical day: oatmeal for fiber in the morning, a handful of almonds for heart health in the afternoon, spinach folded into a salad at lunch, then magnesium after dinner, feeling good about the healthy choices you've made all day. But inside your digestive tract, that combination becomes a quiet obstacle course, fiber pulling magnesium along with it as it moves through, oxalates locking it down chemically, calcium competing for the exact same absorption routes at the exact same time. The supplement you took hoping for deeper sleep, calmer nerves, or fewer leg cramps may never make it into your bloodstream at all. It simply passes through and out. This is far more common than people think, and it explains a pattern William Lee hears about constantly. Many of us build routines that unintentionally cancel out the very supplement we're taking, without ever suspecting our own habits are the culprit. Months go by with little to no change, and it's easy to start assuming the brand is weak, the dose is too low, or that age is simply working against you. In reality, the timing was the issue all along, hiding in plain sight inside an otherwise perfectly healthy meal. The fix doesn't require a special diet or giving up any of the foods you love, simply spacing magnesium away from heavy fiber, nuts, seeds, leafy greens, whole grains, or calcium-rich foods by roughly 1 to 2 hours in either direction lets absorption rise dramatically. If you'd rather take it alongside something in your stomach rather than on its own, keep it plain and neutral, a small portion of white rice, a slice of toast, or soft-cooked zucchini or squash. None of these compete with magnesium for absorption, so they let the mineral do its job undisturbed. Make this one change, and the results often show up within just a few days: deeper sleep, calmer muscles at night, less tension by evening, not because the supplement changed in any way, but because your body can finally access what you've been giving it all along. Mistake number 4 hides inside routines, so ordinary that most people never connect the dots. Morning coffee, afternoon iced tea, an evening glass of wine, sparkling water with dinner. Comforting, familiar, harmless seeming, the kind of small rituals that structure an entire day. But these drinks can wipe out your magnesium long before it ever reaches your cells, and because the effect builds so slowly, almost nobody suspects it. Coffee and tea contain compounds that bind to minerals almost the instant they hit your digestive system, trapping magnesium before it can be absorbed and carrying it along on its way out. Caffeine adds a second layer of trouble on top of that by speeding up your kidneys, flushing magnesium out of your body faster than you can replace it through diet or supplements. So even if a dose manages to survive digestion, it may still be filtered out of your system before it ever reaches your muscles, your nerves, or your brain, the very places it's meant to help. Alcohol works differently, but just as effectively at undermining things. It irritates the stomach and intestinal lining, the very surfaces responsible for mineral absorption in the first place, and it speeds up mineral loss through urine at the same time. A single evening drink can quietly undo the benefit of magnesium taken earlier that day, especially if you're counting on it to help you unwind, relax your nerves, or drift off to sleep. It might feel relaxing in the moment, but underneath that feeling, your magnesium levels are working against you. Carbonated drinks are the quiet ones on this list, the ones almost nobody thinks to question. Their acidity shifts your gut environment just enough to make magnesium noticeably harder to absorb. There's no discomfort, no obvious reaction, nothing that tips you off. Just a slow, steady erosion that builds over weeks and months without ever announcing itself. Most people never link these everyday drinks to their restless nights. They blame age, they blame stress, they chalk it up to just getting older. But often it's simply a timing conflict hiding inside a routine that's been the same for years. The good news is that the fix isn't giving anything up. It's simply spacing things out with a little intention. A gap of a few hours between coffee or tea and your magnesium dose is usually enough. Give alcohol even more distance, especially if you take your magnesium in the evening to help you sleep. And keep carbonated drinks well clear of your supplement window altogether. Once people make this shift, nothing removed from their life, just rearranged a little, calmer muscles, steadier sleep, and a more settled heartbeat often follow surprisingly quickly. This next habit is why so many people take magnesium faithfully, day after day, and still feel deficient, because something else in their own routine is quietly blocking absorption at the cellular level, without any obvious warning sign. The pattern William Lee sees again and again: one large capsule taken right before bed, with the expectation that it'll flip a switch and deliver instant calm the moment it's swallowed. It sounds efficient. It feels like the simplest possible approach. But your body doesn't actually process magnesium in one massive wave. It relies on small, steady amounts delivered gradually throughout the day, the same way it prefers steady meals over one enormous feast. Magnesium moves through carefully regulated checkpoints in your digestive system, each one built to absorb only a limited amount at any given time. Flood the system with a large dose all at once, and those checkpoints don't magically open wider to compensate, they slow down instead. The excess magnesium lingers in the intestines, pulling in water and irritating the digestive tract as it sits there unused. That's often the real reason behind stomach upset, loose stools, or a strangely wired, restless feeling after taking one oversized dose before bed. Your body isn't rejecting magnesium in these moments. It's simply reacting to overload, the same way it would react to any nutrient taken in a single overwhelming amount. There's another wrinkle that trips people up without them realizing it. Supplement labels usually list the weight of the entire compound, not the actual amount of usable elemental magnesium inside it. Someone sees 400 milligrams printed boldly on the bottle and assumes that's the full working dose, when in reality, the usable amount is only a fraction of that number. So they decide to double up, believing they've finally found the right level, when really, they're just overwhelming the very system that's supposed to absorb it. A smarter approach, and one that requires no extra cost or extra pills, is simply to split the dose you're already taking. A morning portion to support your muscles and your body's response to daily stress. A midday portion to help hold levels steady as fatigue and tension often start to build. A gentle evening portion to support relaxation without overloading your digestive system right before sleep. People who make this switch often notice calmer nerves, steadier sleep, fewer nighttime wake-ups, and far less stomach discomfort. Not from a different product or a stronger formula, but simply from giving the body magnesium the way it's actually built to absorb it. Even with perfect timing and proper spacing, magnesium can still lose the battle if something else in your daily routine is quietly competing for absorption, and often it's something completely unrelated to food or drinks, tucked away in a place nobody thinks to check: the medicine cabinet. Medicine cabinets are frequently the hidden culprit behind a magnesium supplement that never seems to work. Not because anyone's doing anything wrong or careless, but because certain medications and supplements compete directly with magnesium the moment they all enter the body together. Blood pressure medication, acid reducers, a multivitamin, a sleep aid, and magnesium, all stacked together in one neat little pile on the nightstand because it feels organized and efficient. But inside the body, some of these combinations quietly work against each other, even though nothing about the routine looks wrong on the surface. Acid-reducing medications are among the biggest culprits here. When stomach acid drops too low, magnesium struggles to separate from the compound it's bound to, and it can't effectively cross into the intestines. It simply gets trapped before it ever has the chance to do its job. People taking these medications long-term often assume their magnesium supplement just isn't strong enough, when the real issue is the digestive environment itself. Iron and calcium share many of the same absorption pathways as magnesium inside the gut. Take all three together, and magnesium often gets pushed aside in the competition, with only a small fraction ever reaching the bloodstream. High doses of zinc or certain herbal supplements can slow things down even further, adding one more obstacle to an already crowded pathway. Diuretics, commonly prescribed for swelling, high blood pressure, or heart conditions, can also cause the body to lose magnesium faster than it can be replenished, creating a gap between what you take and what your body actually keeps. Vitamin D adds yet another layer to this puzzle. Activating vitamin D in the body relies heavily on magnesium as a partner in the process. Take a high dose of vitamin D at the same time as your magnesium, and the activation process can consume magnesium faster than your digestive system can absorb it, creating a slow, quiet shortfall that builds gradually over weeks and months rather than appearing overnight in any obvious way. The fix isn't to fear your medication list or stop taking anything important. It's simply coordination. Give magnesium its own time window, separate from calcium and iron supplements. Space it well away from acid-reducing medication. Never take it at the same time as antibiotics. And if you're on diuretics or juggling multiple prescriptions, it's worth knowing that your magnesium needs may run higher than average, a conversation worth having with your pharmacist or physician. Once the timing is sorted out and everything has its own space, deeper sleep, looser muscles, and calmer evenings often follow before long. The single biggest misunderstanding about magnesium has nothing to do with food, drinks, or medication at all. It's hydration, but not the drink 8 glasses a day kind of hydration everyone's heard 1,000 times. It's true cellular hydration, the fluid your digestive system relies on to carry minerals across the intestinal wall and into your bloodstream in the first place. Without enough fluid in your tissues, magnesium struggles to dissolve and move efficiently through your system, and instead of calming your body the way it's supposed to, it can end up irritating your digestive tract instead. Here's how it usually plays out, night after night, without anyone noticing the pattern. Many people take magnesium late in the evening, hours after their last glass of water, after a cup of coffee earlier in the day, maybe tea in the afternoon, a glass of wine with dinner, and a salty meal on top of it all. By the time bedtime rolls around, their body is already running low on fluid. Then they swallow their magnesium on a nearly dry stomach, expecting it to gently ease them into sleep. But magnesium needs a cushion of moisture around it to disperse evenly and cross the intestinal lining smoothly. Without that cushion, the mineral stays concentrated in one small area instead of spreading out, pulling water into the intestines and irritating the lining as it sits there, sometimes triggering cramping, stomach churning, or a racing heartbeat that seems to come out of nowhere with no clear trigger in sight. This isn't because magnesium is harsh or poorly made. It's simply because the body wasn't prepared to receive it in that moment. And here's the tricky part. You might not feel dehydrated at all. You might even think, I drank plenty of water today. But mild dehydration rarely announces itself in an obvious way. Instead, it shows up quietly as broken sleep, restless legs, tight shoulders, or a stomach that won't quite settle down even when everything else in your evening feels calm. Correcting this is remarkably simple, and the improvement is often noticeable fast. Build a small hydration buffer before taking magnesium, especially in the evening. Skip ice-cold water, which can slow digestion down at exactly the wrong moment. Instead, take slow, steady sips of room-temperature water about 30 to 40 minutes beforehand. This softens the digestive tissue ahead of time and helps magnesium disperse evenly the moment it arrives. Some people also find that a squeeze of fresh lemon or a small pinch of mineral-rich electrolytes creates an even more balanced environment for absorption, particularly after caffeine, heavy sweating, or medications that increase fluid loss throughout the day. Once your body is properly hydrated, magnesium behaves completely differently. It moves quietly. It absorbs efficiently. Instead of irritation, you get relaxation. Instead of lying there exhausted but unable to settle down, you naturally drift towards sleep, your muscles finally releasing the tension they've been holding on to all day. If you've ever taken magnesium and felt worse instead of better, this is very often the real reason behind it. Your body wasn't rejecting the mineral. It was simply asking for water first. Hydration is the foundation underneath everything else on this list. Timing, spacing, dosage, food pairing, medication scheduling. Fix that one piece, and the rest of the system tends to fall into place almost on its own. The way a single loose thread can unravel an entire pattern once you finally pull it in the right direction. None of this requires an expensive product, a stronger formula, or a completely different brand. It just takes the right timing, the right spacing, proper hydration, and a little bit of awareness about what quietly competes with magnesium inside your body every single day. Get those pieces right, and your body tends to respond faster than most people expect. More peaceful nights, more relaxed muscles, an easier time settling down when you finally lie down, and the deep, restorative sleep your body has been quietly asking for all along. So, out of these 5 habits, which one caught you off guard the most? Which one might you have been doing without ever realizing it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. This space exists to help you understand your own body a little better and feel steadier, more informed, and more confident about your health as the years go on. Nothing here is about fear. It's about clarity and about giving your body every fair chance to use what you're already giving it. And if this was useful to you, stick around for the next video. We're covering even more everyday habits that can either quietly support your health or work against it without you ever noticing. The same way these 5 habits have for so many people. Your body deserves clarity. Your nights deserve genuine rest. Take care of yourself, pay attention to the small details, and we'll see you in the next one.